Good evening, viewers. I am Anthony from Cited, and this is 20 Minutes. You know, it's not really usual that we do a segment based on video games. Not at all. Some say video games have been considered to have a psychological effect on individuals. Some say. Others, well, some say it has a beneficial way. Some would even say that they clean up these video games, like Grand Theft Auto, for example. They've caused those individuals to go out in the real world and cause this real world aggression, getting out of their cars and committing these crimes as inspiration. There's all even games like Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat has been claimed to have caused anxiety and putting them in an emotional state. When they're in this emotional state, they go out and even do real world aggression, just like Grand Theft Auto. It even may put these gamers in, well, an even deeper emotional state. But some having a good, like I said, some having a beneficial effect. Some not so much of a good effect. And others, you know, that's just how it is. These types of gamers, well, these type of games have been accused of having these bad effects, making those go out in the real world. And, yeah. And they even do these things. And when they do these, they do random acts of violence. And like I said, it's all based with this inspiration from the violent video games. But that's not the point of today's episode. This has been a huge label on video games for a long time now, and today we're going to get into more detail about how it's not just a bad effect, but how the violence video games causing real aggression is mainly just ludicrous. And it's been going on for a long time. And with us today we have a correspondent. His name is Alex. He's going to get into more detail about this.
Welcome to the wonderful world of 8-bit life. I'm the Professor Alex, but most people call me Alex. In this game, your choices will affect the outcome of your destiny. Ooh. Now, first question, are you a boy or are you a girl? Because I can't really tell. So blind. Your very own 8-bit adventure is about to unfold. Worlds of dreams and adventures await you. Let's go!
We must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace.
Oh my god, is this guy serious? How is this gonna make me violent? I'm just here farming melons, taking care of my animals, peacefully building a house, traveling around the world on my horse, trading with villagers, mining for diamonds, crafting those diamonds, exploring new dimensions. Okay, all right. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to kill somebody now.
Johnny Cage wins. Flawless victor fatality. Kano wins. Flawless victory fatality. Liu Kang wins. Flawless victor fatality. Finish him. Raiden wins. Flawless victory fatality. Scorpion wins. Flawless victory fatality. Sonya wins. Flawless victory fatality. Finish her. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory fatality.
my god. What the fuck?
Holla, yeah, 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 yeah. Holla, yeah, yeah.
Oh, jump out, jump out, jump out.
Mikirin ka lagi masuk saya wal. Tatsir.
رأسية جميلة، تصدي ممتاز، الحارس اتحكم في كورته. كرة التقدم. أي وثيقة يا ولد، أي فن يا ولد، أي مهارة.
De strafschop, maar dat hij geen kaart trok voor die overtreding. Bal op de paal en achter.
Thank you, Mr. Vamosi. It's a pleasure to be here on the show tonight. It's great, you know? Now, many people, like high-ranking politicians and reporters, claim that video games produce immoral people with a violent tendency to shoot up the room like it's duck season. However, this is far, far from the truth. These complaints are decade-old distractions and continue to be unsubstantiated. There is no significant evidence that video games are a contributing factor to mass shootings. It's just wrong. According to multiple studies reviewed during the 2010s, contradicting fact is proven to be the real case. A study taken from 2017 from the Frontiers in Psychology found no evidence that violent video games, even when played to excess, desensitize players to actual violence. In fact, playing video games can strengthen a wide range of cognitive skills, such as spatial navigation, reasoning, memory, and perception. A 2013 meta-analysis found that playing shooter video games improves a player's capacity to think about the objects in 3 dimensions just as well as academic courses designed to enhance these same skills. The more adolescents playing strategic video games, such as role-playing games, the more they improved in problem solving and school grades the following year. It's true. The enhanced thinking was not only found when playing other types of video games, such as puzzle or role-playing. Only shooting games can provide such knowledge. Other research also revealed a boost in children's creativity. Creativity was enhanced by playing any kind of video game, mind you, including the apparently evil, violent video games. Yes. A person's mood could also be lifted upwards from playing certain video games. Simple games that are easy to access and can be played quickly, such as Angry Birds, can improve a player's mental mood, promote relaxation, and ward off anxiety. Isabelle Grenick, PhD of the Radboud University in the Netherlands, claims, if video games simply makes people happier, this seems to be a fundamental emotional benefit to consider. I'd certainly agree with her. Scholars have also highlighted the possibility that video games can be an effective tool for learning resilience in the face of failure. By learning to cope with ongoing failures in the game, the author suggests that children can build an emotional resilience that they can rely upon in their everyday lives. Because there is no consequences to a video game failure, the child can use that to learn as an example of what not to do. So, what can it be inferred from this knowledge is that video games make better human beings and are the future. Those who oppose video games have no idea what they're saying, and video games don't deserve the bad reputation that people are spearheading by them. And that's what I have to say about that.
I'm going to talk to some Jefferson students about what they think of the psychological effect of video games on individuals. Mister, hey, can I just talk about 30 seconds?
Yeah.
You know what, you wouldn't happen to know anything, what's your view on the psychological effect of video games on individuals?
Wait, you said psychological effects?
Yeah, video games, like, how do you...
Yo, I just did a report on this like 2 days
Really?
ago.
Get out, really?
Yeah, don't. Do you mind if I just like share a little bit?
I mean, yeah, sure, I mean,
Don't worry.
everything counts, right?
It will only be 30 seconds. I got you. So the question again was like the psychological effects on media and video games. You know, I get it. Like there's so many pundits that blame like these medias and games for causing violence, and for the most part, like the beginning wise, I get it. I truly do. You know, there's scenes like there's an airport shooting in Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
There's literally games in Resident Evil that teaches you how to slit someone's throat. It's incredibly understandable to see how pundits can view these as influential in today's violence. In fact, it kind of makes matters worse that a bulk of these individuals that play these games end up being children, like 7, 8, 9, whose brains are like sponges. They're susceptible to all these changes and violence and crimes. It's crazy. And for all the parents, as an aspiring parent myself, I would be like petrified if I saw my child from the back of my ear playing games that involve violence, adultery, the whole 9 yards. It's scary, I get that. However, that's not really a good argument. I understand it, but the fact of the matter is, violence in any form, regardless of video games, has always been prevalent. You know, examples include the violence and the genocide of Native Americans. You know, we're going back to high school right now. The slavery of Africans and the bombing of Hiroshima. This was before video games even existed. And simply put, to simply blame video games as a culprit to the rise of violence is not only wrong, but quite simply ignorant. It's wrong because you could just look it online. It takes a 3-second Google search to find out there is no significant evidence that shows that video games is the cause of violence. You know, in fact, your studies have shown that it can actually lessen violence. I'll get to that later. This will only be like 30 seconds. But it's wrong. There's no studies whatsoever. However, studies aside, it's kind of ignorance. Because using video games as a scapegoat, because I get it, it's easy to blame, to not take responsibility, but using it as a scapegoat ignores so many more issues. Like, you know Ted Bundy? That big old movie that came out last year? They say the cause of his rage was parental abuse. They say that the foundation of school shootings was bullying. So to the parents that worry about video games, maybe they should worry about loving their child more. To those my age that worry about video games, maybe they should worry about being nicer. And the next fact that ties in is the fact that loneliness, from studies such as James et al., Valtoria et al., and Capiccio et al., all recent studies from the last 10 years, shows that loneliness is the root to almost all mental health disorders. You know, it can actually increase your likelihood of dementia, heart disease, and depression. It's kind of obvious, but those who commit violent crimes tend to have, more mental health disorders. You know, there's actually an abundance of research, like I just said, that video games can lessen violence. It creates social communities, cognitive functions. Again, the media ignores this, but it's a 5-second Google search. It's ignorant to assume that video games is the sole reason when there's so many other factors. And in my opinion, this will only take 30 seconds, that if we just have a tunnel vision towards video games and nothing else, a tunnel vision when it comes to eradicating violence, if we just have that, then ultimately, I think we're just eradicating ourselves. So, yeah, interesting.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Anyways, sorry for the 30 seconds.
No,
I'm
no,
head
hey,
to class.
thank you for the 30 seconds.
Yeah, sure.
Take care, my friend.
Take care.